Hey everybody, we are the Eff It Madres. I'm Romy and this is Carla, and we are two moms who say Eff It every week. We got into this by saying Eff It ourselves, and Eff It is a moment of walking into something that is powerful and scary and life-changing. And as moms, we have so much responsibility and pressure, so we're scared to say Eff It sometimes and go into that direction. But it's important that we do, and so many beautiful things come from it. So every week we interview a mom, and she shares her incredible, inspiring Eff It moment with us.
Yes, and today we're doing a flashback to a madre that we interviewed in a past season. She has an inspiring story, as they all do, so we hope you enjoy.
Just Eff It. Hi, I'm Romy, an identity coach helping others who struggle with their sexual identity and families of queer youth find their path of understanding and acceptance.
And I'm Carla, a mom empowerment coach empowering moms to own their new identities and motherhood journeys.
And together we are the Eff It Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an Eff It moment. So here we go. Just Eff It.
Hey everybody, happy Monday.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
The last time we recorded, I was sitting there with you, and now I actually have like a visual and an understanding of your space.
Yeah, and how like chaotic it is.
No,
like,
and how adorable it is. And then editing our last episode, I was like watching us together, and I was like, oh my God, it's weird to see you and I side by side.
I know. I know. Well, it will happen more often.
Yeah, it's just so much more obvious. I came home and my friends were like, you guys are sisters? Like, what just happened? Where did you just go? Because Carla and I just had our photo shoot for all of our new photos and our merch, and we were so happy with it. It was an amazing trip.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. Lots more together time.
It was really fun to record a podcast together, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, and now we're back. We're in the groove and we're just like making things happen. And I was in DC a few weeks ago and got to be a part of an amazing trip and met this really incredible woman who's also a life coach and been doing this for a while. She's incredibly intelligent and a woman of faith. You know, we share that together. She's very like spiritual. She helps, you know, business people and get in the right place with their faith and with their business, and coaches them on a level that like is goals, right? Goals for me in the baby part of coaching. We really connected, and then I had reached out to her because I knew she was a mama and just asked her if she had ever had an Eff It moment. She listened to a few of our episodes and was called to share a special moment that was difficult and hard. And I'm really grateful for women being vulnerable with us right now. I feel like we're getting a lot of stories that we both want to be having.
Yeah, for sure. Of topics that could be like somewhat uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So it is definitely nice to have these things that even we're not really knowledgeable or know much about. So it's really great to have that on.
It is. So when she said that, I didn't get too deep into it. So we'll clarify that through our conversation with her. But her name is Erin, and we're going to bring her right in and let her share her Eff It moment with us. Oh, and Carla, who are we?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're new here, I'm Carla. This is Romy. We're the Eff It Madres. This is a podcast for moms supporting moms, madres supporting madres through those big Eff It moments, which are those life-changing decisions, those mental shifts that you have as a mom, where you decide that you need to change, you need to get out of your current situation. And basically, like everything from that moment on is just like a working towards that goal. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it works out differently than you expect. But the whole point is that you made a big shift that changes the life of you and your family, whether it's emotionally, mentally, or the actual goal is achieved, whatever the case may be. And we'd love to have moms on who are wanting to have it. And like maybe with us, we can coach you to possibly have like a live coaching session.
We would love that.
Of helping you get to that point that you make that decision.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Carla, because we haven't had anyone jump on to tell us like, hey, I'm listening to you guys. I'm hearing these. I need one. I feel one, but I don't really know what to do because we would love to help you. And this is something that
Yeah.
her and I have, been working on and working towards. And so let's work through that. I love that.
Yeah. By the way, everyone, by the time this launches or whatever, but Romy got certified yesterday. She got certified to become a coach.
I did.
Very proud of
Thank
you.
you.
Like you really took the horns. Like I don't know what that thing is. That saying is the bull by the horns.
Yes, the bull by the horns.
And you went to it. So congratulations. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. I told Kate, that was the woman we did the program with, send me a certification. I need it hung up above my desk as a visual reminder that I can do these things. Cause she was like, do you want to email? Do you want it printed? I was like, I need that shit like visually. So every day I remember. That's just one thing I've done. There's going to be many more things I do, but thank you for saying that. Cause you know how terrified I was starting this process and had a lot of self-doubt and whether I was going to finish it or not.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to make sure everybody knows.
So let me coach you.
Yeah. Congratulations to Romy, because I personally know how difficult that journey was for you. So
you do.
Very proud of you. Yeah.
You do. All right. Let's bring Erin in. Okay, everybody. We are here. Happy Monday. We have Erin with us. Erin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I let everybody know that you and I met. We had that connection. We share that spiritual connection. We're mamas. We just felt a really closeness. And I was so excited to, get to know that you were a mom and have you on. So we are just going to jump right into your Eff It moment.
I love it.
Okay. All right, Erin. The first question is, what brought about this mental shift for you to say Eff it that you're going to share with us today?
Yeah. So I'm going to have to tell the whole story to get to the Eff It moment, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'll tell it briefly. This was when my son, who is now 4, he was about 14 months. And he had been struggling with a really severe digestive disorder. So he was vomiting 6-7 times a day. So you can imagine, as a baby who was being breastfed and barely, at that age eating table food, when you're vomiting that much, you're losing weight and you're not like the fat, plumpy, healthy baby everyone expects you to be. And it really was initiated by the tumultuous relationship that me and his father had, to be 100% honest. Like we were splitting up. We were kind of trying to share back and forth 50-50 custody. And it was really hard on my son. And so pretty much, I had him doing alternative medical therapies. I had him doing acupuncture, Chinese herbs. We went to see his pediatrician. They really didn't have anything to offer beyond just like Pediasure, which of course he would just vomit. So I really was on my own, and it was a very painful time. And at the same time, I'm trying to fight for rights and custody of my son. So once I kind of go through the mediation process with his dad, and he's able to get his visitation with Harlow, with my son, he decides that Harlow is malnourished because of my neglect, and for some reason I'm mentally ill and can't care for him. So he decides to call Child Protective Services on me, and they then grant him essentially priority rights over Harlow, and then essentially tell me that I have to go to the courts to get my son back. So here I am, a mother who's been nurturing and nursing my son since he fucking came out of my vagina. And this man who really had no interest in him at all, to be honest, all of a sudden wants to be vindictive and get back at me by taking my child away from me at his most vulnerable moment. And so, I know that there's some moms out here that this has gone through, because I've had some friends personally who've had their children taken from them. But when it's a baby, it's a whole different thing. And I hope that this can be encouraging for women out there too that may be going through some custody issues, because I felt like shit. I felt like even though I was trying to disconnect my identity from being a mom, there was nothing you could really tell me that could essentially encourage me that I was doing good in that time of my life as a mother. I really felt like I was being punished, like I was being judged, and because of my own failings as a mother. And so when you start to internalize those things, and then you have the whole court theatrics that go along with it, and lawyers pointing at you and calling you shit, you know what I'm saying? So, and then friends taking the baby away from me in front of my face because everyone really believed him in his story. He's a very narcissistic, convincing man. And so, of course, we go to court, and there wasn't any evidence for him to stand on because, I am right in my approach to what was going on with him. It wasn't any neglect on my part. It was fundamentally an issue with my son. I was granted access back to my child. So I guess that weekend we exchanged the baby, and it happened to be actually Easter weekend of 2021. And which, I'm not super religious, but for those who kind of understand Easter, it's kind of like a rebirth moment, a resurrection time. It really felt for me like this is a time that I'm going to be a new fucking human being, a new woman. And I had, I was living in the home with my mom because she also was needing care at the time. I was living in my childhood bedroom, which was also a thing. And I just decided in that moment that we're going to get the fuck up out of here, and we're going to start a whole new timeline in a whole new place in a whole beautiful home. And
so, Erin, I just want to jump in here really quick for those listening so we can, your F it moment, like we said, is thank you for the backstory to this for people to understand. Also, thank you for sharing this because I know a lot of women going through divorce that also deal with this. And what you said at the beginning, I just want to recognize this first of all. Like, you gave birth, this is your baby, right? Like, this is, you just had this baby, and that a man can come in and just take it away. And in a fight like that, it's unbelievable that it can happen like that. The fight should have been proven first before a baby could be taken. But we live in a world,
that part.
where this happens so often. You shouldn't have to go to court to prove that you're a good mom. You should have had to go to court to prove that you were, right? Like that you weren't, because that should not have happened. But your fuck it moment is then getting this rebirth, getting your baby back, right? Finding your identity again and just starting the fuck over. Am I right?
100%.
Yeah.
In regards to your ex husband or ex partner, he was aware of your son's medical condition, right? Or was
I told him about it. Yeah, I told him about it via text. I sent him information about it. I also told him that he was going to see the acupuncturist, the Chinese medical doctor. I told him all that I felt like he needed to know, but essentially there was no trust there. And for me, I feel like he did it out of spite,
right?
to be honest.
I've seen that, Erin. That's why you bringing this up is I've actually seen friends go through some really ugly divorces with kids involved. And what becomes so common, and thank you for sharing that, is it becomes a narcissist man, right? And not always. I'm not saying this is every case, but in some situations, either with more money, can work the system, can talk about the woman being crazy, and it always ends up being, from what I've seen, a lot of times they're just trying to get back at the woman, right? But these kids are involved.
Yeah.
Period.
This is not a game about your relationship when you start using your child to win a battle. And I can't even imagine, I had chills when you were saying that. That is like having your baby taken from you.
And the hard part also too is that even though you know how the whole situation went, when you have even your friends doubting you, the psychological effect that must have on yourself, like you must have been like,
Right.
like you start questioning your own sanity. Like, am I a good mom? Did I do something wrong? Everybody's against me. Like that's got to
Friends
be.
and family, I have to add. Friends and family.
Oh
And
man.
essentially what it did, and to continue with the effort piece about this, is like I also have to say effort to them. Like
Yes.
fuck them.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then that took time because you really, especially me, I grew up such a people pleaser, and I was such a golden child, and everyone loves Erin because Erin's, does everything we want her to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I make them happy. And at my own expense,
Yes.
Yeah.
including my ex partner, who actually was trying to come at me for my fucking money. He didn't have no money. He wanted me to pay him child support. So this was also the fucked up part about it. And so when you talk about F it, fuck them too, F them too.
Yes.
Because there's
Yes.
also situations where it's like the moment is fucked up, but then also the people that we invite into our space are fucked up too. And we have to be strong enough to be able to say, y'all no longer serve me. You're actually causing harm to my life
Yes.
and my son's life. So I have to let you go.
Yes.
With love. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? I send you down the river, with love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's such a huge point. Thank you for adding that F it moment. We always talk about when you have an F it moment, they continue. Once you say fuck it, you just start getting stronger. You just start having more of them. It becomes easier. So once you said F it, we're starting over. I got my baby back. And then you looked at everyone around you and said, I'm sorry, F this. This is not serving me either. You become stronger.
Yeah.
This becomes the momentum,
Yeah.
which is why we have this whole just F it motto, because
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle and it becomes a lifestyle once you start it.
That part.
My next question,
part.
Erin, would be what sort of opportunities have opened up for you since saying F it to this whole life and these people in your life?
I would say the opportunities keep flowing, sis.
Yes.
We were just at the White House,
Yes.
okay? And that's all I can say.
Yeah.
Like, I was just at the White House with a smile in my face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, honestly, to speak very specifically about that situation, I went to the University of Texas at Austin. I also went to Harvard Business School, Harvard Kennedy School of Government. I've had a very prolific corporate career, business career. And you wouldn't know about how ghetto some situations were in my life.
We're here for some chill out
but at the
earrings, and
same-
we're still here to be classy, Erin, and this is why I love you.
Okay. But shit be ghetto sometimes. And so literally after I'm dealing with CPS, like, this couldn't be a more embarrassing moment for me to be this Harvard graduate sitting in the lobby of a CPS facility next to a crackhead lady and her children, who I'm sure she had her own story with them children too, waiting to see my own child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's like, these are the things that God put me through so I can be able to have a connection with people like
Yes.
this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I can never be disconnected. I can never be too good for my experiences and all the blessings that come my way. And so, honestly, 2 months later, I got my baby. I was giving a commencement speech at the University of Texas McCombs School of Business graduation ceremony.
Nice.
Sharing my childhood story,
Yeah.
sharing my story of my overcoming and my trauma to a lot of children, a lot of young adults, who are graduating from college, going out into the world, who don't get to hear people
Yes.
talk about the realness of their lives.
Yes.
So all this to say, I go through these moments because, I mean, this is one of the hardest, for sure, that I'm sharing, that I don't often talk about. But there have been so many F it moments like this where, had I not, said F it, had I not let things go, I could not receive the beautiful blessings and the opportunity that God, the universe,
Yes.
has for me.
Yes.
And so that's why I highly encourage your listeners that this lifestyle is actually, it has to happen for you. You can't continue to be the same. You can't continue to do the same if you want your dreams to come true.
Absolutely. That's what we say all the time. Like, it is so important to have these moments and to lean into them because of the opportunities, whether how bumpy or messy it might be. It ultimately gets you to a place of so much growth and opportunities that you would have never envisioned or expected yourself to be. It opens you up to such new things. So I'm so happy you said that, because if for those women that are sitting there that are like on the brink, fucking do it. Just fucking do it, because it will get you to a place where you will find yourself so much more mentally and emotionally, and even the people around you. Maybe it, like for you, it weeded out the people that just were not necessary. Like, it is a necessary shift to have for yourself and for your family. Well, I'm curious, because when we do decide to say F it and we go through this new journey, we learn a lot about ourselves on these journeys. So I'm curious to know, were there any positive or negative things you learned about yourself since you said F it?
Yeah, since that particular event, I've pretty much become like a metaphysical master, who I am today. I was able to really come to myself and deeply connect with God in those. Every day I woke up and I looked at my son's crib and he wasn't there. That was like 30 days. And 30 days of waking up and just asking God, why am I even still here? First time in my life where I'm really just like, please just take me.
Yeah.
Because the pain is so, like, I didn't know I still had this in me. The pain is so,
Yeah, you're gonna make me cry right now.
yeah, the pain is so, it's unbelievable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't say unbearable because I did
Yes,
bear with it.
Yep.
you
I
did
did
bear
bear
it.
it,
You
Right.
did.
but the pain is so unbelievable. And the only way you can get through that is with God.
Mhm.
And that is actually what creates gods and goddesses, is when you can go to hell, you can
Yes.
walk in them coals, you can chat it up, chop it up with the devil, and come back up out of there. You know what I'm saying? That to me was my initiation. I feel like, into becoming a goddess, and in this initiation of the goddess kind of growth trajectory that I went on, and now I'm continuing to ascend in. Now I'm a Stargate priestess, so now I open up portals for people, and this is the work that I do in business.
Ooh.
And so for me, it absolutely was a negative, but like, negative makes positive.
Mhm.
And so these were negative experiences that were really forging who I am today. And for women listening to this, the hell moments may last way longer than you expect, because this was like years in the making. So coming out of this, you could only imagine if their 14-month-old that was literally breastfeeding on me 3 times 4 times a day gets taken from his child. When the child gets returned back to the mother, there is a disconnect.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of women also don't get a chance to talk about this or acknowledge this, but this is probably the most painful part, is actually having your child in front of you and not your child not wanting to even sit in your lap,
Yeah.
not even wanting you to hold them, him or
Mhm.
her,
Yeah.
because likely they don't even know how to consciously process it, but they feel betrayed by you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, that moment when you're talking about that too, it takes a really strength, like that strength that you're talking about, that rock bottom, that like when, and whether you are of Christian faith or whatever faith you are in, anyone listening with spirituality, right? Anyone who has that kind of connection with like spiritual warfare in this world, right? When you hit rock bottom, when you are tested with evil, when you are at the lowest point and you've got to pull yourself out of that, and you do, and you go through the pain of being a mother with your child, like that kind of pain, and you still can pull yourself through that and get to where you
Mm-hmm.
are today, that's the type of strength people like. That is like that is deep rooted fight, like within yourself, to be where you are today and not
Mm-hmm.
let that break you. So when you say like it
Mm-hmm.
felt unbearable, I appreciate you really being raw about that. You did bear it, because someone listening may be in that
Mm-hmm.
unbearable space right now and needs to know you
Yes.
can bear this
Yeah.
shit. And when you
Yes.
do bear this shit,
Yeah.
look at the queen that sits here today. You know what I mean? Like, we
Yes.
need people to know, when they look at you looking glamorous at the White House doing your thing right now, you went through hell and back.
Oh, multiple times.
Right. And that's why we want this space. That's why we appreciate you sharing that. Those negatives turned into being, I mean, I would say like almost life-changing for you, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like I said, it made me who I am today, a spiritual master.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I feel that. I feel that
Yeah.
deeply. Carla knows the pain I went through over a year ago with like my rock bottom and hitting hard, and I would not be the person sitting here today had I not done it. And it
Mm-hmm.
takes a lot of what you said. It's a fight that's like deep, right? It's a fight that is very deep. And when we're
Mm-hmm.
moms fighting like that, it's another level. We got someone relying on us, and it's just a different type of fight than it was when we were not
That
moms.
part. That part. And that's the part that I feel like why it had to happen that way for me,
Mhm.
because I'm going through some shit now that's actually quite similar, but it's with me.
Yeah.
So when we're oftentimes as women, we'll allow people to betray us. We'll allow people to fuck over us. We'll allow, the bullshit, because we're like, okay, we get it. But when it comes to a
Mhm.
child,
Mm-hmm.
then when you are a mother, your instinctual nature is to protect.
Yes.
Of course, you're nurturing, but you got to protect that which God gave you, that gift.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And that requires, like you said, a different level of strength, a different level of fortitude, because it's not about you anymore. It's another being that trusts you with their life.
That's what makes this space here, the moms having it,
Sacred.
is because it's a different. We all could have had this conversation prior to being moms, and this would have sounded and looked a lot different. You know,
A whole different
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole
conversation.
different conversation. So, yes, I want to
Yeah.
ask you then with the next question. Then, how were you able to work through the negative talk, the self-doubt that you were dealing with by your community, by your friends? Like, how did you push through that?
Yeah. So that's why I say my relationship with God was so important, because it required a deep knowing of myself. And actually, I don't do it as much anymore, but especially at that time, I did a lot of journaling. And I kid you not, you guys, at this time, I literally was journaling, I hate myself. I literally wrote it all over and over because of how I allowed myself to be in such a low space. And I then started to take this metaphysical psychology course. Psychology is the study of the mind. Metaphysical psychology is study of your own mind, where we were then required to assess our life experiences through the lens of, these spiritual texts, if you will, and really understanding that I created this hell that I was in. I created this reality with my own unconscious programming, if you will. And so I had to start to consciously acknowledge that, wow, I have the power to change my life. And so these doubts, I started recording affirmations. Actually, I still listen to them today.
Love that.
I have this app that I record them all. And you can actually hear my baby in the background. He's now 4, but you can hear him like cooing, like in the background, because I would say these things like, I respect myself, or, I had these big visions for whatever my affirmations were. And you could hear my tone in the affirmations. I didn't believe those things about myself at that time.
But you said them.
Now, I'm talking, I'm a goddess, I'm a priestess,
Yeah.
I'm all of these great things. I know my abundance, I feel it, I embody it. But then these were just words, because who I was, that doubt was so programmed so deeply in my soul. I couldn't even see myself. I couldn't even tell myself I love myself.
Yeah.
And, actually to this day, 2 of the affirmations that me and my son say every night is, I believe in myself, I love myself. And we say it 3 times. Because if you do nothing else for yourself in this world, if you just say, I love myself, and you treat yourself with that love and care and concern, your whole life will be a paradise.
Erin, every time I'm coaching someone, I discuss what you're saying right now. And we asked you, how did you push yourself through these negative talks? And you're saying, I had affirmations. I kept saying words that didn't even feel true until they became true. I was able to change it. And I'm a Joe Dispenza fanatic, and he fucking preaches about, change your personality by changing your reality. And you have to say it, you have to say it, you have to say it. And so, like you, every day I'm saying shit that doesn't ring true yet, but I'm going to keep saying it, like, you are not afraid of flying. You can fly all over the world. You are successful. You own this. You are worthy of this. And those days I don't feel it, but eventually, and I love you saying that for those listening, eventually it does start to come true. There's power in your words and what you say to yourself.
Not just come true, it becomes part of your being.
Yep.
You feel it to be true.
Yes.
You don't just know it. You don't just see it. You feel it. You walk it. You embody it. Like why me and Romy were attracted to each other, because she saw the goddess energy in me. She saw the light in me.
Agree.
You said something there that is it could be a bit of a harsh reality for a lot of people. And it's saying, like, acknowledging that you have the control, and you are the one that have made the decisions that have put you where you are. And that is a harsh reality, even for myself, to to know that, like, all the decisions that I've made in my life have put me to where I'm at now. That is, for anybody listening, I'm sorry if that's a hard lesson, but it's true, because we are in control of all of those things. So I'm glad you said that, because it's tough love. It's tough love. But if you want to grow, you have to hear those things.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I'm curious, like, here you are, this goddess, this priestess, this like powerhouse. what type of person like were you then versus now? I'm curious. What type of person are you now versus then?
I feel like then people probably would still look at me and think that I was successful. Yet the type of person that I was definitely much more insecure. I definitely prefer to have be told what to do and how to do it. I feel like that's a case for a lot of women today, is that we have difficulty making decisions for ourselves. Frankly, because like I said, the way I was raised, I was really rewarded for being obedient. I was rewarded for being a good student. I was rewarded for doing what people told me to do. And so I got into environments where I looked to people to tell me what to do and to tell me how to be and to tell me to define for me what success looked like, define for me what beautiful looked like. I know y'all are beauty mavens, so define for me what beauty looked like, define for me what everything in my life should look like. And so I really did not know myself. I did not know myself at that time. And so for me, it was really about the journey of knowing who I am. And that's why I said the journaling was such an integral part of that, because I had to start then reflecting on how I got to this place. Like, I just did what everyone told me to do, and I got these jobs, and I went to these schools, and I, went to these parties, and I hung out in these circles because that's what I told I was supposed to do. But I was treated like shit in most of these places. So is that really me?
Right.
Am I a shitty person too? And maybe I was, maybe I did think I would have a superiority complex or think that I was better than people because I had a certain education or income level. And so it really came to me starting to know who I am truly more deeply on a soul level.
Erin, you make some really solid, deep points that are just like hitting the heart. And I'm glad Carla acknowledged, in terms of some people may be like, this is hard. This isn't sugarcoating. And this is what we want here. We want the we want the raw, we want the real, we want the grit of what this is. In therapy recently, we talked about the things I did in my past. You just said this, like the things that people would call me, the things that they would say that I was. And then I fought forever that that wasn't who I was. There did come a point in therapy that I had to say, you know what? I was that person. They were right. They were right. And then, you know what I mean? They were right. Some of those bad things that they said about me, when do I stop fighting that? And when do I look at myself? And then it took rock bottom to pull myself out. And then you revisit who you actually are and want to be. And that is when that change happens. When you go, okay, fine. You all want to think that? Maybe you're right. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to do my affirmations. I'm going to pull myself out of something. I'm going to have strength that is like no one else can have strength. And I'm going to figure out who I am. And anyone not on board can go. And that is, I think, when you get to that place, it's just like how you are now. There's no stopping you. You don't give a fuck anymore what those people think of you. You give a fuck about what you think of yourself. And we as women and girls are raised so often to care what everyone fucking thinks of us that we don't even know who the fuck we are by the time we're moms, and we're sitting here because we spent our whole lives trying to be what everyone's told us to be. And I hope that we look at our little girls now and we're like encouraging them to know who they are, not for us, not for anybody, because it's taken Carla and I 40 years, to fucking really understand who we are.
Yeah, it's never too late to stop and acknowledge that you have been a people pleaser, and that's okay. Like, hey, we were raised that way. We subconsciously had that grilled into us. But you can be fucking 80 years old and realize, oh my God, I've been doing this. I'm going to live the rest of my life doing whatever the fuck it is I want to do for myself, because that is when you actually live. And again, we always say this, that is when you actually show your children your worth and the lesson of you need to love yourself and do for yourself, not for anybody else.
Yes.
The more we have each other, women, this community, and moms really empowering each other in a world that doesn't right now. But the more we do that, the more like that energy does go to the next generation, right? Because a lot of us are healing, a lot of us
Mhm.
are fighting. We are in a generation
Yeah.
that is really
Yeah.
wanting the peace. We want it. I see all of us. We want it. We're struggling. We're
Yeah.
trying.
Mhm.
We're doing the work. And I hope that that does go down to our children, and that your little boy sees a woman that like loves herself, is a powerhouse, who can do all these things, that our daughters see that, you
No,
know?
my son calls me a goddess. He goes, "Oh, mommy, you're a beautiful goddess."
Yes.
Aw.
He says that. He's like, "Oh, mommy, you look so beautiful. You're a queen." Like
Yes.
he always, yeah, my son knows.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
how
what you want.
sweet.
You want him to have that respect and that admiration
And
and see a
kids don't
strong
lie.
woman.
They know. You're right.
Oh, Erin, I'm so happy you're with us. My last question would be to you. What is your message then to empower your child and to empower anyone listening to your story?
Well, we've been saying it, and I just want to reiterate it: is know who you are.
Mm.
And I like to even say, know who the fuck you
Yes.
are. Like that's how I really
Yes.
say it,
You're in the right
because
place.
and just to kind of encapsulate the whole, the whole conversation, the more you know who you are, the better you can show up for yourself, the better you can show up for your family, the better you can show up for your children, the better you can show up in your job to
Yes.
get them coins to make your life even better for yourself. The better you can be
Yes.
you. And the more you are you, the better you can be you. And that's all I have to say about that, because you can't be successful in this world trying to be like somebody else, trying to be like Beyonce or be like Ariana Grande or be like this bitch or that person. Like you can't be like these people and be successful in your life. Your life is yours.
I need that quote that you just said. You said the more you are you, the better you are. What was that quote? How did you say that?
The more you are you, the better you can be
I
you.
love that. Carla, I love that. The more you are you, the
Yeah.
better you can be you. That's one of those quotes
Yeah.
Carla and I like
That's it.
love to read, because you can't be the best you if you're not showing up as you.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah, absolutely.
That part. And everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to be wealthy. I am a wealth coach. I do, success. Like I work in very high levels in business. The wealth shows up as you show up, period. I done met a lot of billionaires that don't flex like I flex when they walk into a room. You know what I'm saying? And so that money looks good on paper, but how does it look when you show up in the
Yeah.
room?
Right.
That's the determination of
Yeah.
wealth. And so I really hope that people can take that away. And the only way you can be wealthy is by having the wealth of knowledge in yourself.
Yes.
That's what wealth
Ooh,
is.
that was a powerful statement.
Is it
Oh,
Sunday or is it Monday? Because I feel like I just left church. Like, I
that was
wanted to get
amazing.
up and
Oh
just
my
start,
God.
dancing.
I personally feel empowered. I'm going to
Yeah.
shut this computer, be like, I'm going to work.
This is why she's a coach, Carla, because you leave and you're like,
Oh my God. I
fuck,
do. I feel
good.
very
I feel
empowered.
wealthy. I feel like a queen. We're just
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
so true. Like if you like all those things that you want, whether it's wealth or anything, if you really don't show up as you're not going to have these things. Like and it's a hard thing it's a hard pill to swallow. Again, another tough lesson. Like you're not getting those things because you yourself are not being you.
And that's what we see in celebrity culture and mainstream culture more and more. I'm so glad the veil is lifted. We see these celebrities dying and drug overdoses, and you look at them, they look sick, they look sad, and they have all this money and this wealth, and these kids are aspiring for these lives that are destructive.
Yes.
And we really have to turn the tide. And I know I'm speaking to Romy, because Romy the background I'm talking about. We talk about the Hollywood shit. Like it's a cancerous culture. This rich lifestyle.
I hope that those kids start looking up to people like you, Erin, and people like us, and people that really are trying to be their
Yes.
authentic selves, that becomes the goal. And it should have been what we were aspiring to be as well when we were younger, Carla.
That part.
You know?
That's the part.
Yeah.
That's
What
the part
we
for
not
me.
Kate Moss on my wall who's like on heroin and dying, but like who are these powerful women that I want to like grow up and be. And I think we're seeing
Yes.
more of that, and it's a different society now, thank God, where there's access to real women and real stories and real people, and that's why again we created like a space like this as well, you know. so that
I love it.
someone listening is
I'm
hearing
grateful
these
to you all.
stories. Erin, where can everybody find you? Shout out any areas that you're working on, or people can reach out to you or follow you.
Oh, I would love for folks to follow me on Instagram or social media in general at I am Erin Patton, ErinPatten. Also, my website is erinpatton.com. You can check out my podcast, the Meta Business Millennial podcast as well. I do solo casts now where I'm talking about my journey, talking about ways you can generate more wealth, more love, more happiness in your life. But particularly the wealth piece is the focus. And I'm just so grateful, both you, Romy, you, Carla, for this time, this space, and this just love.
Thank
For
you.
real.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing something
you.
that was a very vulnerable story that, not a lot of people want to share. And it's also important to see someone as powerful and as successful as you, like you have had those moments, and we don't always get to see or hear about those. And I think it's important to share those so people can, it's more relatable, and it's like, oh, she got through some shit and look where she's at now. I can do it too. So thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. We're much appreciated. Much
So
appreciated.
appreciative. Erin, this is where we are all going to say just F it. So you can kick it off and say just F it. Carla will, and then I will.
All right. Just F it.
Just F it.
Just F it.